minutes. But...
Would you clone your dog?
Oh, damn. I see that. No, I don't think I would.
No.
I don't think I would. I think that's too weird.
You ever seen the
How
boys
many
from
could I clone?
Here's what I would
Is
do.
there a limit?
Have you ever seen The Boys from Brazil, where they clone all those Hitlers down in Brazil and put them in households with the exact situation Hitler had, and then they kill the father on his when he's like 7 or whatever, just like Hitler, and they try to create a new Hitler? I feel like you could do a similar thing with the new dog. Put him through all the things that Max #1 went through, and so perhaps
you just end up with the same dog.
You could end up with Max 2.0, and he would have the same memories as Max 1.0, the same experiences. And
well, you're not just talking about cloning a dog. You're talking about like hiring a family to make your dog into your dog.
No, I can
do it yourself.
Shit. I can do this.
So are you gonna? Let's say that your dog of 12 years dies when you're 23 or something.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna act like an 11-year-old and just pretend for over a decade for this very mild payoff? Might I add,
you really
that
think
this
I
dog
have to...
is vaguely reminiscent of that other dog I had that died? Like,
Taylor, how much
no,
of an act...
There's no winning in this entire scenario unless you just clone the dog regularly and then just keep it like a new dog. If anything, that'll be more fun because then you'll have the same dog look, but you'll be like, oh, you don't shit in the carpet. I remember, Max 1 shit on the carpet, Max 2.
I did a better job.
Yeah, who knows where we'll be? 5th generation.
If Max 1 shits on the carpet, you don't clone Max. All right,
yeah, when Max
these are
2
dogs.
shits on the carpet, Max 3 makes an appearance.
I, for one, am very
You
interested.
just kill it and you start to reboot him.
Just a bunch of little graves in my backyard.
Yeah, fucked up again, Max.
It looks like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet of just dead small dogs.
But I'm really into this idea. I linked you guys to a website there where, unless I'm being trolled, no, let me just tell this quick story. So there used to be a website where you could supposedly go and watch a live stream of a miniature giraffe. And there's no such thing as miniature giraffes, just so we're all clear here and no one embarrasses themselves. They don't exist. But there was this internet thing that suggested that they did, and there was this little promo, and they talked about it, and they pimped them as like pets for the super rich. And if you remember, I think there were Comcast commercials with that really rich Russian guy who was just overly extravagant. And one of the things he had was a pet mini giraffe. And so part of that ad campaign was this live stream where you could go and watch the miniature giraffe. And this thing is like 2 feet tall, incredibly cute. And I convinced Wings of Redemption that they were real and that I was buying one. And I let him go with it for weeks and weeks.
How much did you tell him that, what was the market rate for
it? Was extravagant. I blew that. I was like, yeah, it's $8,000, another $1,500 to get it through customs. It's going to be 6 weeks before I get it, but I'm getting a motherfucking miniature giraffe. And he was like, that's fucking awesome. That's so good.
$2,000 a week for training. Should be done in 10 weeks tops.
And they talk, they speak English. They're sentient, living, feeling beings. Basically a human, but it's giraffe shaped.
I think I would clone a dog. I think I would definitely do that. I actually talked to Wings just today. Actually, I'm going up to his house next week. We're going to do our photographs for the hot sauce, and we should have the hot sauce out in like 3 weeks, I'd say.
Yay!
Yeah.
I would clone anything. I think. Wouldn't you have the opportunity just to see if they were like, you
can I have a cloning machine?
Is it like a 3D printer? I can cook it up in my house? Because then I'm doing all kinds of crazy.
You just take a hair or a sperm or a blood droplet or anything at all. You put it in one end, and then
you take a hair.
3D printer.
You got a hair, and then you're like, oh, and a sperm. There was a sperm here as well. I'll take that too.
I wish I could have seen his hand motions where he was like, you just take a hair or a sperm.
You're gonna need more than one sperm. So I want to talk to you about this website that you sent to us. I like the sidebar navigation, which starts with Facebook, but then goes on to dog cloning cost. My dog has died. My dog is still alive. Step by step. Photo gallery about my dogs. Clone updates. You are in grief. My story. Am I happy? It ends with am I happy?
It's like, no, because you're on a dog cloning site.
Yeah, you're not happy. You're a professional dog cloner.
Yeah, look at this. There's a link here. If your pet has died, please click here now before it's too late. It's already too late. Your dog is dead. Don't creepily.
I love the do not place your dog in the freezer warning.
Oh yeah, that's no good. That's no good for the DNA.
Refrigerate your dog.
Look, I am all for dog.
One dog is $100,000.
Oh, but you do put it in the fridge.
Well, I only need one,
of course
so.
You put it in a fridge.
I have Great Danes. I don't know how I'm gonna manage this.
Gotta get a chest fridge. It's a big one that lays on the ground.
Well, not to be
That's
gruesome,
what
but
the
I
vet
think,
had.
I think you could just cut off a significant portion of the dog, and that would
That's
be
true. That's
Yeah.
true. Absolutely accurate. However, I don't think that I would clone my dog. And maybe I'm just not going along with the goof here, but I don't think I would clone my dog because I feel like this is a thing that happens, and I have to deal with it in the normal way.
There's no,
Where-
no. Why? Who made that rule?
Because I don't
Can
know.
I ask a second question, a follow-up question? Just to see if you continue down this path of letting things go the way they're supposed to go. If you had a hypothetical fetus on the way, a baby who's about to be born, and there were the option to say, make sure that this child has blue eyes or blonde hair, or that it's 6 feet tall, or that it's not genetically predisposed to things like diabetes or say
We're having a very
scoliosis.
very new conversation now, but go on.
I think it's very similar. It's a bit of genetic engineering, but this is a little more close to home. We're not
Is this
talking
called
about
eugenics? Is that what eugenics is?
No,
Yeah, but-
no.
I believe
Eugenics
so,
would be
what
if we
yeah.
really didn't care for some of these dogs and we made sure that they didn't get a chance to procreate.
Okay.
With guns.
That's a little more Goebbels than I wanted to go. To be completely honest,
I wasn't sure what eugenics was 100%.
No, that's not eugenics. But this is a thing that is gonna happen.
it's going
And
to happen.
if you want to talk about like super frightening China talk, here's my fear. And this is just pure fear, no reality. My fear is that America will say, this is a bad idea. We should not allow rich people to genetically engineer their children to be literally better than poor people. That's bad. That's a bad thing. Let's not do that, because then we have literally created the race of rich people
Hank,
and the race of poor
Just
people.
admit they're already better. You know it to be true. It's a goof.
No, hang on a minute. I just want to get at something, because you said that as a goof, but the poor in some ways are underprivileged in ways that are virtually insurmountable. That Josh guy that I always talk about, who's down on his luck, I found it today. He has the same reading level as Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The way he passed his driver's license test at 22 was by literally memorizing it, like you would pictographs.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yes, there is
Jesus.
absolutely systemic disenfranchisement and all kinds of privilege that people have based on their upbringings, and I had all the good ones. 'Cause rich white guy here, it's going well for me.
This was
Good for
environmental
you.
retardation. This is when your mother is so shitty that like she
Yeah.
doesn't teach you to read, and you're 22 years old.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm sure went into that. But my worry is that you go from this thing where basically we're saying everyone has opportunity. We're trying to create equal opportunity to like the first generation. It's like the rich kids are a little bit smarter. To the 20th generation, when it's like there is a class, a race of slave people that we have that basically are normal humans. And so what I'm saying is I think the right thing to do is to say that this is not a thing that should be allowed. You can engineer to prevent disease, but you should not engineer for desirable traits.
I'm really
But
glad
as
you
you
down that
pointed
road.
out, though,
How
Hang
can
on,
one
let-
person...
China
get to
won't
that.
put that rule in, and they're going to
that's
have a
my
race of
fear,
smarter
is
people.
that there would be some other countries where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to genetically engineer a race of super soldiers, and you can't stop us.
And it
We're
could be-
North Korea. We basically don't even have Coca-Cola.
Oh, hang
And
on
they
a
don't
minute.
have
Now,
to be
if the North
soldiers,
Koreans
right?
try to do that, they're going to come up with some like
Yeah,
it's
North-
like the Fly. They're going to be all mutated.
I'm They'll mess it up.
And
But no, it could
that's
be
how
some
is
other
in
country.
50 years and 100 years, everybody can do
It could be like Norway, right? I don't think they're going to build super soldiers. They're just going to build people that are a little better, a little taller, a little stronger, a little smarter. And
They're already so
yeah,
hot.
right? Fucking Norway.
No, I mean like they're already doing it. Can't you see?
Just by breeding with each other, those fucking handsome bastards.
So hang on a minute, because Hank brought up the idea of this future society where that's dominated by the rich, super engineered people, and there's this lower class of non-engineered people. Who here has seen the movie Gattaca? Anybody ever seen Gattaca? Yeah,
movie.
right. I love that movie. Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, and it's really exactly what we just laid out.
You know what that
Future-
movie taught me? Is that guy had no fucking business doing that. He wasn't healthy enough, and there were like half a dozen supermen for all intents
You know what
and
it taught
purposes.
me?
Could do it
No,
just as good.
here's why.
He
Here's
should
why
be putting
Ethan.
the people up there.
Here's why Ethan Hawke's character deserves to be the guy on the ship going to space to do whatever the fuck you do up there. He had more intensity, more drive, more gumption than anybody. If there's a job,
Did you describe him as high energy?
incredibly. Like, sure, the special. So you've got this guy who's engineered to be perfect, and he can run for 30 minutes without breathing hard. But Ethan Hawke can run for 30 minutes, and his body is killing him, but he won't show it. I feel like that's better in the end. That you've got a guy who will quit at nothing, the guy who doesn't save anything
It's
for the journey
definitely
back.
not better, because what if that was a 50-minute run? What if it was an hour run? Then are you still going to be blown away by his
There's no
endurance?
running
I'm just
in
saying,
space,
hypothetically, if you're spending $2 billion in a project to send people up to space, and you just happen to be sitting on a big cluster of supermen that can do everything perfectly, maybe just send them up there.
Taylor,
He
what if there's a
outperforms-
situation that requires mental fortitude and like a toughness attitude?
What if you've got to cut your arm off and then keep going?
right?
He's the guy who'll
Right,
cut his
Ethan
arm off.
Hawke could do that. No, yeah, this is the point of the movie, and this is not really what I'm afraid of, though that is a thing to be afraid of. I'm afraid of like 1895. H.G. Wells wrote The Time Machine, where the character goes into the future, and they're like humans have differentiated into two subspecies. There's the Morlocks, and there's whatever the
Slee
other.
stacks. Right? Isn't that what they are?
The Slee stack. What are Slee stacks?
Isn't that from like the Land of the Lost?
So there's the underground.
Yeah.
You got the Morlocks, and those are like the troll
Yeah.
people, and then above ground you have this like Bernie Sanders class of people who are just like la 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 la, everything's wonderful, and meanwhile the Morlocks are coming up and getting them and fucking eating them underground. Those are the Trump supporters. Very high energy down there. Very high.
Very
energy.
high energy, intense.
Oh man. Oh man. Wow. Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's. I don't want to not go down this road because there's so much that we're going to get from our ability to manipulate genes of humans and other organisms.
Can accelerate evolution by a factor of.
But
who
when you
knows?
say accelerate evolution, like what does that mean? Like where are we headed in our evolution? Like there's no like clear trajectory that we're going.
Yeah,
in.
we're not headed anywhere with evolution now.
so-
We've kind
yeah,
of
so, like-
dominated our everyday environment. We're never going to
So,
have
yeah,
to encounter
it's-
water.
We're
so
going
much,
to
eventually we'll have
re-accelerate evolution.
No. All right. So currently, as humanity sits right now, we are de-evolving, and I'll tell you why.
I disagree.
Let me finish my thought, and you tell me why we're not de-evolving.
I'm
because
not decided. Convince me.
Right now, look who's I feel like right now, the more intelligent people, the people most likely to pass on genes of intelligence, which
Idiocracy. Talking about idiocracy.
yeah, I'm talking about idiocracy. I feel like the stupid people are having a lot of babies. The smart people are having no babies. You see that everywhere. These it's just the truth. I feel like the stupid people are outbreeding the smart people. And the other problem is this isn't the African prairie. This isn't some sort of fight or die situation. You can be incredibly genetically. What am I looking for? What's the antithesis of superior?
Inferior.
Inferior. You can be extremely genetically inferior and still manage to pass your genes on, not once, not twice, but maybe a half dozen, 20 times in our current state as a species. So I feel like the driving force of evolution isn't present anymore. There is no fight or die. We're not removing the section that needs to be the cream is not rising to the top anymore. It's quite the opposite. And but I think with genetic manipulation, all of a sudden now those smart rich people, they're reproducing and they're making super versions of
They're
themselves.
not reproducing. They're not controlling more of the genome. They're controlling more of the power. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about them breeding a bunch of really powerful, smart.
That's what he is talking about. Them breeding and using
more
Yeah, but they're not. Rich
People
people
who are-
still aren't going to want a bunch of kids. They're
How about
going to
this?
want two real good ones.
So currently, one of the problems with deep space travel is the radiation that's just out there in space.
Wow, we just changed topics like crazy.
Wait,
No, we didn't.
also two.
The problem with deep space travel right now,
I
among
know.
others, is the radiation. What if we
We're
genetically
talking to Hank Green here, but carry on.
what if we genetically engineer a race of human beings, and the only difference is they're better at dealing with radiation. now you could actually have one of those generational type spaceships that could go to another star or something like that. I feel like genetic engineering is our future, and it's how the human race is going to evolve. And it's I mean, you've seen Con. It's coming.
I honestly believe it's coming, and I lament it because every single technological advances the people who have already been advanced. That's always how it happens. You know, a wealthy upper middle class kid got a computer before anybody in my class. I learned how to code before anybody in my class. I had all of the advantages. So I was able to like every step of the way, I've had every advantage.
Does it make you feel guilty?
Let's not talk about guilt right now because I know that's going to be a whole conversation. It does not make me feel guilty. It makes me feel privileged. And this continues to happen. This is how there is upward mobility. Some people do go from the bottom 20% to the top 20%, but you are much more likely to be in the top 20% if you were born there. And you're much more likely to be in the top 1% if you were born there. So and it's not just that the money is there. Thanks for getting that. It's also that the access to this stuff always comes to the rich people first. And so I'm probably saying had access to the internet first, and we were able to enjoy the fruits of that first. Whereas a lot of people still in America still don't have access to the internet the way that we do. They might have access to the internet through their phones, but not the sort of rich economic way that we have access to the internet where we can actually use it to our own personal gain. Now, that is one thing when you're talking about access to information. It's another thing when you're talking about your literal genes. And I 100% believe that we are going to go down that road, and it's going to be a very bad thing for equality. And I think equality is one of those base human desires, is that we want everyone to be equal, and it will be really hard.
It just seems like it's not fair to say all right, so now we have this technology so that everyone in this generation can now be better, have more opportunity by virtue of their very existence than we did, because they'll be smarter, less likely to get killed off by some bullshit disease early in life, and then someone has to come in and go, no, I know better than you, and my vision of equality says that we shouldn't do this.
I totally get you. I get you. God grant us a future in which we have the resources to give it to everyone equally, but it seems unlikely.
Well, what if it was like everything else?
Wait.
You know, in that it starts at the top, but 15 years into this technology, everyone has access to it.
Yeah, just like everything.
What if it gets
it's
cheap?
Going to start as a premium product. Like a VCR was $1,000 when they first came out, or some bullshit like that. It's eventually it'll kind of trickle down. You know, you'll have some really attractive rich people for 10, 20 years, and then eventually even people taking out your garbage, you'll be looking at them.
I want to get some
because everyone will be gorgeous. It'll ruin.
I want some genetically engineered pussy. That's going to be the top tier come those times.
Oh, custom
genetic.
Yeah, you won't even.
I feel like that goes against the guy creed. Guys never really. All pussy is good pussy. We're not dicks about it, right?
Oh, false. I'm talking about a super pussy. I'm talking about changing the way that thing looks and operates.
If you want to build good pussy, you can order one for $39.95 at fleshlight.com.
Look, I've got a $250.
Now we know who Hank's sponsored by.
Yeah, I got a $250 auto blow. It's got machinery in there and beads working, and you plug that thing into a wall. I don't need your $30 toy, please. I got a robot that sucks my dick on command. It sounds like you're firing up a jackhammer.
Calling that thing a robot is so generous on your part.
I drew a face. I drew a face on the back and put googly eyes on there, and I shake it while I'm doing it and give it real intense stares. That's the best. That's the best sponsor we ever had. Those people were great. I lost my train of thought though. God damn it! I have a place to go.
Auto blow genetically engineered pussy.